Hello, my name is Noel Mauricio, and I am a student at Western Sierra, and I support this bill.
Hello, my name is Ashley Tonino. I'm an AP student at Western Sierra Collegiate Academy, and I strongly support this bill.
Hello, my name is Amanda Hanson, and I'm an AP student at Western Sierra Collegiate Academy, and I support this bill.
Hello, my name is Kyle Wood. I'm a... I already forgot. An AP person that does stuff. I'm in support of this bill.
Thank you.
Some of them were a little...
Mr. Chairman, Brian Rivas on behalf of the Education Trust West in support.
Mary Moyle with the Chancellor's Office for the Community Colleges, and we do not have an official position on the bill, but we are working with the author.
Luis Jimenez, former AP student, now a proud community college student. I strongly support this bill.
Good afternoon, Lizette Evero with the Community College League of California. I want to thank the committee for an excellent analysis and thank the author for taking the amendments.
Good afternoon, Chris Jansen, Sacramento City College counseling faculty, in very strong support of this bill.
Annette Barfield, counselor, Sacramento City College, and supports this bill.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Any witnesses in opposition? No witnesses in opposition. No questions or comments? Mr. Williams, would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
So I'd like to thank the author for bringing up what I think is a very common sense bill. And as a former U.S. history teacher, I want to thank the witness for taking AP history. And I know how valuable those classes are. So there was a move by Ms. Weber, second by Ms. Irwin. Madam Secretary, if you'd call the roll.
Medina?
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker? Bloom? Aye. Bloom, aye. Chavez? Aye. Chavez, aye. Irwin? Aye. Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer? Aye. Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine? Aye. Levine, aye. Linder? Linder, aye. Lowe? Olson? Santiago? Weber? Aye. Weber, aye. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye.
9-0. Your bill is out. Mr. Williams. All right, we'll call up item 11, Mr. Allen, AB 2064. And thank you for your patience, Mr. Allen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm here today to present AB 2064, the College Affordability Act, for your consideration. To give you a bit of background, I was actually surprised by the numbers. Since 2007, college tuition and fees have more than doubled. The numbers started out in the CSU system in 2007 was $2,772 per semester, and by 2011 that had increased to an average of $5,472 per semester. In the UC system, the numbers are even larger. That went from $6,636 all the way up to $12,192 per semester. Now, with the passage of Prop 30 in November 2012, fortunately, we froze college tuition rates. And at the state level, what we did is we actually apportioned more money to the colleges to make sure that our next generation of students gets the education that they need. However, due to constant fee increases and lack of fiscal oversight through many years, students in California have found it increasingly difficult to financially plan for their education, as is evidenced by the numbers that have recently doubled before we enacted Prop 30. So we took a look at a number of different states, a number of different models, and the goal really is to get college affordability and college visibility in terms of what students are going to pay to help students to actually graduate and handle these costs that seem to be rising very quickly, not only in our state but in other states. And we have to remember, too, that the Prop 30 will sunset at a certain point, and we'll no longer have those protections in place. So what this will do, AB 2064 will prioritize affordably educating our next generation by stabilizing tuition and fee increases incurred on students and family by setting the cost at the rate in the year a student enrolls in a CSU or community college for the following 4-year period. And essentially what we would do is we would freeze it for the entire cohort. So once you go into school, whatever you're paying that first year, you'd pay for your remaining years in school, 4 years. If you transferred in, you'd get some sort of credit for the amount of units you had at the point at which you transferred. But what this would do very simply is it would give students the ability to know that they could reliably finish school without escalating bills, especially once Prop 30 is set to expire. So with that, I'm here for any questions, but I think AB 2064 is a great way to take a look at making sure that education remains affordable in California.
Second. Any witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition?
Chair and members, Nadia Leal Carrillo with the University of California, and we have a concerned position on this bill for some of the same reasons your committee analysis notes. We appreciate and share the author's interest in providing stability and predictability with regard to fees. However, we would encourage the author and the committee to consider to continue to explore ways to increase state support for the university instead of adopting a tuition policy as proposed in the bill. Your support of the state's 4 to 5% increase in state augmentation support for the university has been critical in keeping tuition flat for the last 5 years. We believe this type of partnership is vital in future years in order to minimize any tuition increases and also to preserve a quality education at the university. Thank you for your consideration of our concerns.
Thank you. Witness?
Good afternoon. Alex Graves with the California State University. We would like to align our comments with our colleague from the UC. We also appreciate and understand the members' interest in issues of tuition affordability and predictability for students and their families. However, we are concerned that this would restrict the Board of Trustees' ability to respond to significant economic changes and changes in state general fund support. And we believe under this policy that we would create a situation in which different entering groups of students would be paying dramatically different tuition as the next entering class would have to fully bear the adjustments needed year to year given a recession or change in general fund support. And would just like to close by again saying that we would echo the comments from our colleague at the UC that we believe the best way to ensure tuition remains affordable and predictable is to ensure stable general fund support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none. Ms. Weber?
It would be interesting to know, especially when you're making such a recommendation that has financial implications, it would be good to know what LAO thinks about it in this area, because that would be an important discussion to know in terms of what impact it has on the system overall. I think all of us would love to have our tuitions remain flat, but we understand the consequences sometimes when we make these policy statements like this, because it doesn't take into consideration what happens in an economic downturn, those kinds of things, and what impact also it has on the incoming freshmen who now have to pay for the 3 years of folks who ahead of them who didn't do that. And if they don't graduate in 4 years for unforeseen circumstances or have to drop out, then there becomes a dramatic increase from where they thought they were rather than the gradual increases. So it seems like at some point, as pointed out in one of the reports, that the tuition each year would be much greater than what we would normally have, because the need for increase in operating costs would only be shared by a small portion of the campus rather than the whole campus. And so, therefore, any increase would be dramatic for the incoming freshmen. I hope I'm making sense in what I'm saying. If the normal fee would be $200 and coming in an increase, you being the freshman, it would not be $200, it would probably be $800, because you have to accommodate the fact that the cost of educating is $200 now, but you have to pay for the sophomore, junior, and senior that have fees that have been frozen for the prior years. And so you end up with a more dramatic increase for each freshman that comes in than what would normally exist. And then if you drop out, then you come back with a much more dramatic increase, because now you're dealing with the increase that comes earlier. So I'm just saying it would have been great to have an LAO analysis of this, because our analysis, it sounds reasonable on the surface, but it probably doesn't solve the problem we face. The problem we face is really a problem that we need to fund our institution better and more consistently. And when we've done that, as pointed out over the last 3 years, part of our negotiation was that the fees would not increase. And as a result, we've given more to our institutions and been able to hold the cost down. So, but I would have loved to have seen an LAO analysis of this. That would have been helpful to really get a sense of what impact this would have, because it sounds good on the surface, but as you begin to think about cost increases and how they're amortized to individuals, this population is smaller that's paying for the cost overall system increase, the fee is higher. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Leonard.
Thank you. I think that raised an interesting discussion, in my opinion, for the exact reason why maybe we perhaps need some sort of flat tuition. The reason being is in the case of a declining economy, I think that it might be standard practice for the schools to increase fees or tuition. And if that's the case, I mean, you're talking about the situation where it's a lot harder to be able to afford for a family to be able to afford putting a student through school. So I think it's almost the perfect argument. I think that maybe this a flat tuition or a frozen tuition would be a good idea. So I will support your bill. I think it's great. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Allen, would you like to close?
Sure, I'd love to. The first is to mention that this actually provides an incentive for students to get in and get out in 4 years. It makes it very clear that, once you get in, you're incentivized, because you don't know that the fifth year your tuition most likely will increase. So take the units you can, utilize our system appropriately. The next is that their ability to respond to cost increase in the system is still absolutely present. Assemblymember Weber correctly pointed out that, as opposed to spreading it across the entire student body, it would be now on the incoming classes. However, one thing to mention is, as long as we continue to prioritize higher education funding at the state level, this is not necessarily going to be the case, as we've seen for the past 3 years. There are other states that have done this successfully. Oklahoma and Texas are two of the top that come to mind. And if you take a look, if we have increased utilization of our school system, our higher education system, with quicker and shorter graduation rates, this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're incentivizing the exact right behavior. We're bringing down, the level of students that are entering the system and then leaving or without a degree or simply kind of drifting away. So I think there's a lot of reasons that California should lead on an issue with this. It's no surprise that the UC system and CSU want to increase fees and want to maintain their ability to constantly increase fees. I mean, I think that, I've been here for 3 years, and I think we've all heard the same arguments for the last at least 3 years and many more before that. There's always reasons to increase fees, and they want to maintain that ability. But they would still, what's most important to understand is they would still have the ability to increase fees, just simply not on the existing students that have already basically entered into the system. They're in a cohort and they have their 4 years to get their degree and get out of there. I think that the bill is a very straightforward solution. Things that we might want to consider if the bill is able to move forward from today is one of the states that I just mentioned has a 15% additional fee associated with the four-year program. So if the student chose to go into a program like this where currently the bill just would freeze your tuition for 4 years, but in one of the states they say if you want to go into a four-year cohort freeze program, you have to pay a 15% premium, which is a very fair way of stating, look, you're going to get certainty and you're going to pay a slight premium for it. I'm absolutely willing to take a look at ideas to move this forward, but I think that the legislature and the people of California have been very, very straightforward and unanimous in saying that education is a priority, and keeping our education costs to a reasonable level and a predictable level makes a lot of sense, because we all believe this is going to mean more graduating students in California. So for all of these reasons, I appreciate your time today and your input, and I hope that you pass me on to the next committee so we can continue this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I agree with those who say that we need to continue what we can do to ensure that our student fees and tuition are maintained at affordable levels. However, a freeze is called on for in this measure, I think will have unintended consequences that could lead to higher costs for some of our students. And for those reasons, I will not be supporting the bill this afternoon. And that we had a motion by Mr. Lender, second by Mr. Chavez. Madam Secretary.
Medina?
No.
Medina, no. Baker? Bloom? No. Bloom, no. Chavez? Aye. Chavez, aye. Irwin? No. Irwin, no. Jones Sawyer? Not voting. Jones Sawyer, not voting. Levine? No. Levine, no. Linder? Yes. Linder, aye. Lowe? Olson? Santiago? Weber?
Not voting.
Weber, not voting. Williams?
2-4, the bill is on call.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Chavez, can we have you present, please? And that will be item 29, AB 2786.
Right.
May begin.
Thank you. Members, the big discussion in education, as you all know, is about the ability to get a degree in a timely manner, 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years. It was in hearing 2 today that we heard the very small percentage of students who even get a degree in 4 years. But AB 2786 tries to correct that. Requires the trustees of the California State University, requests the regents of the University of California to offer students an agreement that outlines a general pathway for the coursework that the student must complete in order to receive their baccalaureate degree within an agreed-upon time, 4 to 5 years, depending on the degree. Recently, there has been a concerning trend about the graduation rates. By getting students through the higher education system quickly and efficiently, the school will free up more room for students, and students will be able to gauge their expectations and plan accordingly. AB 2786 seeks to remedy the current trends in our California universities, requiring the universities outline a general pathway of coursework that a student must complete in order to continue to graduate in 4 to 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, we just need to look at and see what some of our private universities are doing. Very good private universities, USC, Stanford, UOP, San Diego University. Very common to have students graduate within 4 years. We need to take some lessons from other institutions that are well recognized and bring some of the same rigor and plans back into our CSUs and UCs. I'd ask for your support of AB 2786.
Mr. Chavez?
Yes, sir.
I failed to ask you if you accepted the committee
Yes, I did.
amendments.
I did accept the amendments.
Thank you.
I was going to say.
So we have moved by Mr. Lender, second by Ms. Irwin. Witnesses in support? No witnesses in support. Any witnesses in opposition? None. Any questions or comments from the committee? Ms. Irwin?
So I think a lot of the problem at UC is that certain classes fill out and students can't get it. Maybe they miss the rotation and have to wait a year. How does this bill deal with? How does this bill deal with that issue? Would the UC guarantee that these students that say they're getting out in 4 years get to the top of the list of these classes?
This has come up a number of times in the discussion in Sub 2. Actually, listen to different presidents, like the one today from Sacramento, said that what they need to do is when they identify what students need 18 months out in advance, so that they know when students are coming that they'll have seats available for them. They need to be a better job in structuring planning where the students are going. When you go to campuses, you talk to students, they always say they want to take the class, but the class is not available. It's a management issue. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the privates do a very good job in it. I think we just need to put a higher standard upon ourselves for the CSUs and UCs.
Can we take that as your close?
That's my close. I'd ask for I vote.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Medina. Medina, I. Baker. Bloom. Bloom, I. Chavez.
Aye.
Chavez, I. Irwin. Irwin, I. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, I. Levine. Linder. Linder, I. Lowe. Olson. Santiago. Weber. Williams.
6-0. That bill will be on call.
Thank you, sir.
And now your second item, item 29.
Yes, item 2787. Item 72887 is a Cal Grant extensions. What I'm requesting here is that the Cal Grant extensions, the middle class scholarship, to apply to not only public but to private nonprofit institutions. To me, this was a matter of equity. When you look at this money is coming from taxpayers, and the students choose different institutions to go to, that this provides them the ability to take the money with them at the institution that can provide them the education in which they desire. The Middle Class Scholarship Program provides undergraduate students with a maximum household income of $150,000 a scholarship to attend the University of California or California State University campuses. There's been a growing trend of raising tuitions in the colleges, increasingly more difficult to afford. This scholarship ultimately helps alleviate some of the increasing costs by attending a university. However, it only applies to public institutions. We'd like to move this into the private institutions. As discussed earlier in the previous bill, we need to do everything we can to ensure that our students get their four-year degree to be part of the the world economy. Too often we're finding out students are choosing routes that take 4 to 6 years to get through that hinder their development, and the privates are providing a good nexus, a challenge to our current system. It's not saying they're better than the other, just saying that we need to have all avenues to ensure that students are successful. I'd ask for your support of this middle class scholarship.
Witnesses, 2 witnesses, 1 minute. Witnesses in support.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members. My name is Thomas Vu. I'm with the Association of Independent California Colleges and Universities. We represent 78 WASC-accredited private nonprofit colleges and universities across the state. Together, we educate over 189,000 undergraduate students, including 28,000 Cal Grant students. We thank Assemblymember Chavez for introducing this bill. We apologize for not getting a letter of support in time, but we do appreciate his considering our students, particularly the students from middle-class families that face the same challenges and really have the same dreams as students at a UC or a CSU. Just as the Cal Grant program supports students from low-income families and supports student choice and access, the Middle Class Scholarship Program should be similarly be available to qualifying students at all higher education institutions, no matter where the student chooses to attend. And for those reasons, we support this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members. I'm Brennan Biggert with the California Student Aid Commission. The Commission voted in support of this legislation. This would allow students at nonprofit institutions to take advantage of the middle class scholarship just as their peers in the public institutions do. For reasons, capacity issues, a lot of students will apply to a UC and perhaps have a difficult time gaining a seat at their institution of choice, and they end up going to a nonprofit institution to pursue their education. And making the middle class scholarship available to them would assist in their education, and the Student Aid Commission has therefore voted to support it. Thank you, sir.
Marty Fisher on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce in support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? Any questions or comments from committee? Ms. Irwin?
I do have a couple of questions, and also just wanted to ask some of the questions that the committee consultants had asked. You said that it's the award would be 40% of the maximum award that the student would have received with Cal Grant. Is that the competitive Cal Grant? Is that a Cal Grant based on tuition? Are these awards going to be much larger than awards at public schools because the tuition is higher?
It doesn't change the amount. It's the same. But it'd be a competitive Cal Grant. It doesn't change the amount of money they're getting. It just allows the student to apply for it and use it at a private institution.
Right, and there was the committee consultant had a question about is funding for this, would it be taken away from UC and Cal State? Where does the funding?
That is a great question, because often in the discussion we've had in Sub 2, there's been a number of presentations saying that as we increase the amount of Cal Grants, there's been some papers on this, we actually increase the rate of tuition. So it's kind of like it's another way of funneling money into the institution by raising the Cal Grant. Because when we raise the Cal Grant, the publics will raise their tuition to match the Cal Grant. So it's kind of a wash. You're not really getting anywhere. In the number of the hearings, you'll see that the privates are see it in an area, and they have other scholarship programs at a different business model. So it's not about the institutions. What this bill is about the students taking the money with them, choosing a route that best meets their educational needs.
All right, and then the other thing is, would you see this supplanting aid that the college was already going to give the student?
No. I don't think it's supplanting anything.
Do you see it as going toward the student's portion?
I see it's when a student makes the decision on where they're going to go to a different university, they're going to sit down and figure out how much resources they have to go to pay for it. And if they have a Cal Grant, that could go against their requirement at the private or the public. It's not supplanting anything. They have a choice where they want to go with it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Would you like to close? To me, this is a very simple bill of equity. Equity to taxpayers who give money into the system, and the ability of their children to use this program, Cal Grant, which taxpayers pay for, to allow them to pick the institutions they desire to go to. This is not saying that publics are better than private or private's better than public. It's saying it's just different routes and opportunities. Maybe there's a degree there. Maybe there's a location issue. Maybe it's a smaller campus. Maybe it's a particular sport they're having. There could be a lot of different reasons students pick where they go. This allows them to use the Cal Grant program for the middle income to go to the school that best meets their family's needs. And I request your I support it. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. I'm very much in support of financial aid to independent colleges and universities. I have several of them in my district. My daughter went to a private institution in Los Angeles, University of Southern California, which is why I'm supporting Assembly Bill 1961 to increase the Cal Grant award amounts for students attending private colleges. I also support the middle class scholarship program. However, I cannot support an expansion of the program without an identified funding source, particularly when there is so much unmet need for low-income students attending our public and private colleges. I'd like to thank the author for bringing this bill forward, and I look forward to working together with him on other efforts to improve California's financial aid programs. Madam Secretary.
We need a motion in a second.
We don't have a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Irwin.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Chavez. And Madam Secretary, if you call the roll.
Medina.
Hello, Isabel Ponce from the California Catholic Conference in strong support.
Thank you.
Medina.
No.
Medina, no. Baker. Bloom. Bloom, no. Chavez.
Aye.
Chavez, aye. Irwin. Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, no. Levine. Linder. Lowe. Olson. Santiago. Weber. Williams.
2-3, bill is on call.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice comments.
Do we have it out there? Who do we have? Mr. Jones and his bill. Mr. Jones. Item number 23, AB 2419.
You want to present for me? I'm happy to yield.
How did Ms. Garcia phrase it last week?
Oh, no, I asked for Mr. Wagner to present.
No. I remember how Ms. Garcia phrased it.
We were having a happy day.
Exactly.
We wanted to continue to have a happy day. And
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Chair, I thank you for reminding us of those happy days, and so I'm hoping that the result of this presentation will also be happy.